Today I was accepting her good moments because I know she has a lot of good moments. Sometimes it can change.
You've got Eala. She's there. Boiseau is also there. Badosa, she's going to have to play qualifying. She didn't make the cut. To see who is not actually on the entry list. Badosa's in the qualies at this stage. Now, there are a lot of...
Here I am, fresh as a flower, so yeah.
Alex,
have you ever seen a tennis star rise so fast that even the established champions start checking the draw sheet twice and suddenly developing stress headaches? Because that is exactly what is happening right now with Alex Eala. The French Open has officially released its 2026 main draw list, and one name has sent a jolt through the tennis world. Alex Eala has secured a direct spot in the main draw of Roland Garros. No qualifying rounds, no dangerous early week survival mission, no clay court obstacle course. Straight in through the front door. And according to reports circulating across the tennis world, plenty of people did a double take when they saw it, including Paula Badosa. Now let's be clear here. This is not about disrespecting Badosa. She remains one of the most respected names in women's tennis. She has been near the top of the rankings, won major matches, battled through pressure, and built a serious reputation over time. She did not arrive by accident. She earned every bit of it. But sports can be ruthless, and tennis can be even colder. One minute you are the headline, the next minute the spotlight has packed its bags and moved courtside to someone else.
I've always been very ambitious, ever since I was young.
Okay.
Yeah, so every time I pass like a certain stage in my tennis, I think new challenges arrive. So it's not really boring. So because there's always something new that you have to figure out, and there's always going to be someone new or a new situation that you don't know how to handle. And then of course I have the people with me to guide me, but in the end, you're also learning how to solve problems on your own.
Right now, that spotlight is moving toward Alex Eala. The attention, the hype, the fan support, the social media buzz, the tournament confidence. All roads currently seem to lead to one rising star, and her name is Alex Eala. And honestly, this moment says everything about how massive her rise has become, because Roland Garros is not handing out direct main draw spots based on nostalgia. This is not a Lifetime Achievement Award ceremony with clay dust on top. They are rewarding rankings. They are rewarding momentum. They are rewarding relevance. They are rewarding audience pull. They are rewarding players who make people stop scrolling and start watching. And right now, Alex Eala has all of it. What makes this even more surprising is that her season has not been perfect. Far from it. She has had ups and downs. She has had matches where things look smooth and matches where the tennis gods clearly forgot her booking. She has shown flashes of brilliance and moments of inconsistency. There have been victories that raised eyebrows and losses that raised even more eyebrows. But despite all of that, tournament organizers still believe she belongs directly among the biggest names in the sport. That tells you one thing loud and clear. The tennis world sees Alex Eala as the future. And if you are a veteran player trying to hold your place near the top, that is not always easy to watch. Imagine grinding for years at the highest level. Endless travel, endless pressure, endless recovery sessions, living out of suitcases and airport lounges. Then suddenly a younger rising sensation comes in and starts leaping ahead in terms of global attention and tournament trust. That can sting. Not because the younger player did anything wrong, but because tennis never pauses to be sentimental. It keeps moving, fast. And let's be honest here, Alex Eala has earned this moment. This did not happen overnight. She did not wake up one morning, stretch, and accidentally become one of the hottest names in tennis. This journey has been building for months, especially during the Australian Open. That tournament gave fans a clear warning sign. Something was changing. Crowds were obsessed with watching Alex Eala play.
She has such an amazing head on her shoulders and the game, and I think she has a voice and a platform that's going to, transcend the sport. And as we know now, sport is not just tennis. It's fashion, it's art, it's culture, it's having a platform, and I think she does brilliantly of merging all of those.
Videos went viral showing long lines of spectators waiting outside courts just for a chance to get in. People were arriving early in the morning like they were lining up for concert tickets, not an opening round tennis match. Seats filled quickly, interest kept growing, buzz kept spreading. And remember, this was not even a final. This was simply the Alex Eala effect. Tournament organizers noticed it immediately. They always do. Nothing gets attention faster than attention itself. The atmosphere around her matches felt different. There was energy in the stands. There was curiosity. There was noise. There was that special feeling every sport chases, the sense that something could happen at any moment. Younger fans connected with her energy. Asian tennis supporters rallied behind her. Casual viewers became invested in her story. Even neutral fans started saying, "Wait, who is this?" That is how it starts. Then came the numbers. Every time Eala stepped onto the court, social media traffic spiked. Clips spread fast. Highlights moved everywhere. Reactions piled up. Tennis accounts posted her. Sports pages posted her. People who had not watched a match in months suddenly had opinions. And in modern tennis, that matters. Grand Slam organizers are not only looking at rankings, they want stars who bring excitement, storylines, and global attention. They want players who can fill seats, drive conversation, and give broadcasters something to talk about besides weather delays. Eala checks every single one of those boxes. Then came Miami. And this was where everything truly changed. Miami was the tournament that convinced many people Eala was no longer just a promising young player with potential. Potential is what people say when they like you, but are still unsure. Miami moved her past that category. She became a serious talking point in world tennis. Analysts were surprised. Commentators were impressed. Fans were energized. Opponents suddenly got a lot more interested in scouting reports. Her run there turned heads because of how she played. She looked fearless. Her movement was sharper. She covered the court with purpose. She chased down balls like they had personally offended her. Her confidence looked stronger. Her body language changed. She carried herself like someone who knew she belonged. That matters more than people realize. Tennis is not just strokes and footwork. It is presence. It is nerve. It is how you walk to the baseline after losing a brutal point. It is how you respond when the crowd gets loud. It is how you behave when the pressure starts tapping you on the shoulder. And in Miami, Eala looked ready for all of it. That is why this Roland Garros direct entry feels bigger than a line on a list. It feels like confirmation. Confirmation that the sport is paying attention. Confirmation that tournaments believe in her draw power. Confirmation that fans are invested. Confirmation that the rise is real, and for everyone else in the women's draw, that creates a new reality. Because it is one thing to hear hype, it is another thing when the majors start acting on it. Right now, Eala is no longer knocking on the door. She is already inside. Her shot-making became far more aggressive. This was no longer a player just trying to stay alive in rallies and politely return the ball, like she was thanking opponents for inviting her onto the court. No, this version of Eala started stepping in, taking control, and attacking points against elite opponents with real intent. She was no longer surviving exchanges. She was trying to own them, and that is a massive difference in tennis. There are players who rally, there are players who react, and then there are players who decide the point belongs to them before it even starts. That shift in mentality changes everything. But the biggest statement of all? Her victory over Coco Gauff. That win completely transformed the narrative around her career. Beating a Grand Slam champion and one of the biggest stars in women's tennis does not just look good on paper. It changes how the entire sport sees you. Suddenly, you are not a promising prospect. You are not a fun story. You are not someone people describe with phrases like "one to watch." You are a threat, and that matters. Because in tennis, credibility is expensive. Most players spend years trying to earn it. Eala walked onto a big stage, played fearless tennis, and collected it in one night. That victory proved several things immediately. It proved she could handle pressure. It proved she could compete with top-tier athletes. It proved she could rise to the occasion when the lights were brightest. And maybe most importantly of all, it proved she belonged. That single result forced everyone to recalculate. Commentators had to adjust their scripts. Analysts had to update their rankings projections. Opponents had to stop treating her like a developing youngster and start treating her like a dangerous matchup. Even fans who barely knew her name suddenly knew exactly who she was. Then came Indian Wells. And once again, Eala kept generating headlines. She may not have lifted the trophy, but she showed something that can be even more valuable in the long term: maturity. She looked composed. She looked calm. She looked like someone who understood how to navigate pressure instead of being swallowed by it. That is rare for any young player, and even rarer when cameras are everywhere and expectations are multiplying by the week. Some players panic when momentum arrives. Others overplay. Others start reading their own headlines and forget the scoreboard still exists. But Eala looked grounded. That got experts talking. They began discussing her court IQ, her tactical growth, her smarter point construction, her patience in the right moments and aggression in the right moments. They noticed her growing confidence against elite competition. And in tennis, confidence is everything. A forehand struck with doubt is just a polite suggestion. A forehand struck with belief can ruin someone's afternoon. That is why the French Open decision actually makes perfect sense when you look deeper. This is not just about rankings. This is about trajectory. Tournament organizers are looking at a player whose popularity is exploding globally. They are looking at someone whose matches create noise, whose story creates interest, and whose presence creates anticipation. They see a player on the rise. They see a player fans want to watch. They see a player broadcasters want on screen. They see a player sponsors are definitely not ignoring. And yes, they want her in the main draw because they know people will tune in. That is modern sport. Talent matters. Results matter. Rankings matter. But momentum matters too. And right now, Alex Eala has momentum in bulk. But there is another massive factor here that should not be ignored. The support she is receiving from legendary figures in tennis. One of the biggest names connected to her rise is Novak Djokovic. Now, when a player like Djokovic publicly supports a young athlete, people pay attention immediately. This is not random praise from someone who watched 2 highlights while eating lunch. This is one of the greatest players in tennis history, a man who has studied opponents, pressure, greatness, and survival at the highest level for nearly 2 decades. A player who knows exactly what future champions often look like before the rest of the world notices. When someone like that speaks positively, ears open. Djokovic understands talent better than almost anyone alive in tennis. He also understands pressure. He knows what it feels like to carry expectations, absorb criticism, and still keep winning. He knows what it takes mentally to climb from exciting prospect to feared contender. Reports surrounding Alex Eala suggest he has been highly impressed by her mentality, discipline, and willingness to improve. That kind of endorsement is enormous, because when legends believe in you, tournaments start believing in you too. Media starts watching more closely. Fans start expecting more. Opponents start preparing harder. And it does not stop there. Even Maria Sharapova has reportedly spoken highly of Alex Eala's potential and influence. That matters for a different reason. Sharapova understands what it means to become more than just a tennis player. She became a global phenomenon. She understood branding, image, pressure, marketability, and how to carry superstar status while still competing in one of the toughest sports on earth. She knows star power when she sees it. And according to discussions around Alex Eala's rise, Sharapova sees something incredibly special. Not just a talented player, not just a future top competitor, a cultural icon in the making. That is a huge statement, because very few athletes transcend sport. Very few players become symbols of a generation, a nation, or an entire region's hopes. But Alex Eala is slowly becoming exactly that. For Filipino tennis, she represents possibility. For many young Asian athletes watching around the world, she represents access, proof, opportunity, visibility. She represents the idea that the path is real, and that emotional connection is powerful. Fans do not just cheer for players like that. They invest in them. They defend them online like unpaid lawyers. They wake up at absurd hours to watch matches. They celebrate wins like holidays and treat losses like national emergencies. That kind of connection cannot be manufactured. Now compare that to Paula Badosa and her current situation. Badosa is still respected. Deeply respected, in fact. Nobody can erase what she has achieved. Nobody can delete rankings, wins, or the years she spent battling at the highest level. Tennis history is not a dry erase board. She has fought through injuries. She has dealt with criticism. She has survived difficult seasons that would have buried many players. At her best, she was one of the most dangerous names on tour. And when Badosa was rolling, opponents knew it. Her power game could rush players off the court. Her intensity could overwhelm them. Her presence alone made matches uncomfortable. She was the kind of opponent who could turn a normal afternoon into a survival exercise. That deserves respect. But tennis moves fast. Actually, fast might be too gentle a word. Tennis moves like someone late for a flight. One season you are climbing. One season you are peaking. One season you are defending points, defending rankings, defending reputation, defending your sanity, and trying to remember what city you woke up in. That is the sport. And sometimes momentum matters more than reputation. Right now, Alex Eala has the momentum. The headlines are about her. The excitement is about her. The crowds are showing up for her. The cameras are finding her. The online conversation keeps circling back to her. And now even Grand Slam organizers are prioritizing her. That has to be frustrating for established players trying to protect their positions in the sport. Because this is no longer just about winning matches. This is about relevance. This is about marketability. This is about being the player people plan their schedule around. This is about becoming one of the future faces of tennis. And Alex Eala is rapidly moving into that territory. That shift can be difficult for veterans to watch. Not because they lack talent, but because they understand exactly what it means. They know how hard it is to hold attention in a sport that is always searching for the next star. And make no mistake, the sport is searching. Whenever a young player combines results, personality, crowd support, and upside, the machine starts humming. Broadcasters notice. Sponsors notice. Tournament directors notice. Fans definitely notice. Right now, Alex Eala is generating all of that. What makes this story even more impressive is the pressure she carries. Every tournament she enters now comes with expectations. Fans expect deep runs. Media expects headlines. Sponsors expect visibility. Critics expect perfection. And critics, as always, somehow expect perfection while sitting comfortably with snacks and Wi-Fi. That is a lot for any athlete. It is an enormous amount for a young athlete still developing, still learning, still adjusting to life at the highest level. Yet somehow Alex Eala keeps handling it. She keeps showing up. She keeps improving. She keeps staying in the conversation. And now comes the biggest opportunity yet. The French Open main draw. Being part of the Roland Garros main draw is one of the great achievements in tennis. This is not just another stop on the calendar. This is one of the 4 Grand Slams. This is history. This is legacy. This is the clay court battlefield where careers can change in 2 weeks. The pressure there feels different. The atmosphere feels different. The silence before points feels different. Even the bounce of the ball feels like it knows the stakes. Every point carries weight. Every service game feels important. Every break point can sound like thunder. And now Alex Eala will walk into that environment not as a qualifier fighting for survival, but as a recognized main draw player. That changes everything psychologically. It changes how others see you. It changes how you see yourself. Instead of asking, "Do I belong here?" you begin asking, "How far can I go?" That is a powerful mental shift. Because confidence in tennis is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is simply walking onto court knowing you earned your place. And this direct entry says exactly that. The tennis world officially sees Alex Eala as someone who belongs among elite competitors. That matters. Now, from everything being reported, she is training harder than ever. Sources close to her camp suggest she is fully focused on preparing for the physical demands of clay court tennis. And clay is a different beast entirely. Clay demands patience. Clay demands endurance. Clay demands movement. Clay demands discipline. Clay demands the emotional stability of a monk and the legs of a marathon runner. Points stretch longer. Rallies become wars. Winners do not come easily. Mistakes can multiply if frustration enters the room. Long rallies can mentally drain players who are not prepared. Some athletes lose the point. Others lose patience. A few lose both. But Alex Eala appears determined to prove she deserves this opportunity. She wants to show the best version of herself at Roland Garros. Not just talented, not just exciting, complete. And honestly, this tournament could become career-defining. Because if she performs well at the French Open, everything could rise again. Her ranking could climb. Her confidence could surge. Her reputation could strengthen. Her popularity could explode to another level entirely. A strong Grand Slam run changes how the sport talks about you. It changes future draws. It changes endorsements. It changes the respect level in locker rooms. Players start studying you differently. Commentators mention your name differently. Fans expect more because they now know more is possible. That is what is on the line. And perhaps the most dangerous part for everyone else, she still feels like a player ascending. She still feels like someone learning in real time. She still feels like someone whose ceiling has not been reached. That should make the rest of the field uncomfortable, because a talented player is dangerous. A talented player with belief is even more dangerous. And a talented player with belief, momentum, and a Grand Slam opportunity? That is the kind of story nobody wants to face in round 1. Imagine her making a deep run. Now, really imagine it. Imagine Alex Eala charging it through the draw at Roland Garros French Open, taking out seeded players, surviving pressure moments, and turning every round into a bigger story than the last. Imagine the headlines. Rising star stuns Paris. Alex Eala breaks through on the biggest stage. New WTA threat has arrived. And you already know the internet would completely lose composure. Imagine the fan reaction. Crowds growing louder each round. Social media exploding after every win. Highlight clips everywhere, comment sections turning into tactical debates mixed with emotional chaos. Sleep schedules ruined across multiple time zones because people refuse to miss the next match. That is what happens when a player captures imagination. Now imagine the pressure it would place on the rest of the WTA Tour. Because once a young player proves she can make a deep Grand Slam run, everything changes. Opponents stop seeing promise. They start seeing danger. They stop asking, who is she? They start asking, why is she in my section of the draw? They stop casually preparing. They start doing homework. That is why players are paying attention to her right now. This is no longer a harmless feel-good story. This is no longer just a young talent with potential. Potential is what people say when they think something might happen. Force is what they say when it already has. And Eala is moving quickly into that second category. She is becoming a real force in women's tennis. Her name creates interest. Her matches create energy. Her rise creates pressure. And whether Paula Badosa likes it or not, whether veterans approve of it or not, whether skeptics are ready or not, the sport is changing before our eyes. That is how tennis works. It never asks permission before the next chapter begins. One generation fights to stay on top. Another generation arrives with zero interest in waiting politely. And right now, Eala looks like part of that next wave. The French Open has made its decision. That decision was not random. It was not sentimental. It was not accidental. It was recognition. Recognition of momentum. Recognition of relevance. Recognition of a player who has forced herself into the global conversation. The future is arriving. And her name is Eala. So now the biggest question is this. Can Eala actually shock the world at Roland Garros? Can she walk into one of the toughest tournaments in tennis, absorb the pressure, handle the clay, manage the nerves, and prove that the French Open made the right call by placing her directly into the main draw? Can she turn hype into results? Can she turn expectation into wins? Can she turn curiosity into fear for the rest of the field? Or will the pressure finally become too much? Because pressure at a Grand Slam is different. Every match is bigger. Every mistake feels louder. Every camera angle feels personal. Every point can feel like it carries a month of headlines. That stage can expose players, but it can also reveal stars. And that is why this story is so fascinating. We are about to find out which one it is. Will Paris become the place where Eala announces herself to the world? Or will it simply be another step in a rise that is still building? Either way, everyone is watching now. And once tennis starts watching you, there is no going back.